Hello again, my name is David Watts from Lenovo Press, and I have with me today Russ Resnick. Russ is the worldwide segment manager for 1 and 2 socket rack and tower servers. How you doing, Russ?
Pretty good. And yourself, David?
I'm good, thanks, yeah. So Russ is at home, and I'm at my house too. This is the Lenovo Press social distancing edition of our walkthrough video. So Russ, we are going to be talking about, this is the new ThinkSystem SR665. This is our new 2-socket 2U rack server, which has got, Russ, the AMD 7002 EPYC processors, right?
That's right, David. And I think we'll see in this video that this is a very versatile, high-performance server that can be used in a variety of applications for a number of workloads.
So what sort of workloads then? What workloads would a customer find most valuable on this type of system?
Well, such things as VDI, virtual desktops, virtualization in general, HPC in some cases for where we can put in 3 GPUs or 6 of the smaller GPUs for makes a great inferencing engine, and then also storage, software-defined storage, and virtualized storage work out really well on this server.
There's actually, as we'll show you, there's going to be a lot of configuration choices in terms of storage, drives, and adapter slots. The key word here is flexibility, a very flexible configuration. You can choose to configure it however you need for the workloads you want to run on it. So Russ, let's talk about what's on the front of the system. We'll spin around to the back, and then we'll look inside. How about that?
That's great.
All right. So at the front of the system, the server supports 24 2.5-inch drives at the front. This is, the traditional hot swap drives, 2.5. The server also supports 3.5-inch drives. In fact, from an overall point of view, we can have up to 40 of the 2.5-inch drives or up to 20 of the 3.5-inch drives. And that's a combination of front, inside, and rear drive bays. So very flexible, very high capacity storage system.
Yeah, let me also say that the inside drive bays are hot swap as well.
That's a good point, yes.
So even though they're inside, once the server's pulled out of the rack and the top comes off, you can still hot swap those drives.
Yes, indeed. That's a very good point. Yeah. Okay, so the controls on the front. Let me start on this side over here. With our optional VGA port here. This is our new diagnostics port, Russ. What is this used for?
So I think you've got a sample there. We have an external diagnostics handset, and that can be used to interrogate the Xclarity controller to learn such things as IP addresses, where there could be potential faults in the server, and to better understand the configuration of the server. Yeah,
and the idea is that you plug this handset, that's what they call this, the diagnostic handset, plug it into the port, and that will then give you access to the information via this LCD display, and you've got some buttons here to control as well. Now, Russ, you don't need one of these for every single server, right? You can share them across a whole rack of systems if you want, or more.
That's right.
It has a very clever magnet on the back, so you can just simply mount this, just attach it to a rack or something, to a rack cabinet. That way, you have easy access to it when you need to. So that's a very handy option to have, to give you access to system information, error logs, and so on, from in front of the system. Now, on this side here, usual array of buttons and LEDs, power button, 1 LED, 3 system identifier LEDs, the ID button blue, the system error log and system error, and the networking activity LEDs as well. 2 USB ports, USB 3.1 Gen 1 and USB 2. The USB 2 port also doubles as Xclarity controller local access, right?
Right. So if you have a tablet or a phone with the Xclarity mobile app, you can plug into that port and interrogate the Xclarity controller also. But we recognize that there are some customers who don't really want tablets or phones in the data center, which is the reason we also now provide this diagnostics handset, which is really just a device to view configurations and errors and such.
Yes. Now, I'll also add too, We offer as a configuration choice, if you don't have 24 drives in the front, you choose to only have 8 or 16, then we also offer this unit here, which also doubles as an alternative to the external handset. This is an integrated diagnostics panel, and you can see it has the same controls, same display as the handset I was showing you a moment ago, but this is actually installed inside the server. So if you're looking for this type of information, this type of capability, but integrated into the server, then we also offer this choice as well. Of course, the trade-off is fewer drives in the front, but with the additional drives in the middle and rear, maybe that's not a problem for your workload. So this option is available to you, should you need that. Okay, so that's the front of the system. I would point out that we show here the 2.5-inch chassis. The 3.5 is available as, correct me if I'm wrong.
8 or 12 drives.
Right, 8 3.5s or 12 3.5s in the front, should you wish that. And we support SAS or SATA drives or NVMe drives, or in some configurations we also support any bay drives as well, right? Any bay is a bay that can support either SAS or SATA or NVMe if you wish. So those are all the choices there. Quite a variety of backplanes that are available. The product guide has all the information about the capabilities and choices. So that's the front of the system. Let me spin around to the back. Try not to knock anything over in the process. All right. So this particular configuration has three slots here, 3 slots here, and you can configure it with an additional 2 slots here. This is a cabled 2-slot riser to give you a total of 8 PCIe slots. These are all PCIe Gen 4, and they're all full height by 16 lanes. Actually, I should take that back. Some are 16 and some by 8, depending on the configuration. Russ, we also offer an OCP slot, right?
That's right. So as we started with the AMD one-socket systems, the SR635 and 655 with the OCP slot, these systems also have the OCP slot. Right. The other thing I should mention when you talk about the risers, the PCI risers, is for those customers who really don't need PCI Gen 4, we also offer a set of Gen 3 risers, which for some customers may save some money.
Sure.
Rather than buying, the more expensive Gen 4 risers.
Yes. Good point. Yes. Now, so this is a configuration with 8 PCIe slots. However, if you want, let me show you the different choices. So we have instead, I've got a few samples to show you here. What we can instead do is put in 2 3.5-inch drives. Now they go in the space of the 2 slots on this side and the top 2 slots in the middle here. So you can see this is a combination with 2 3.5-inch drives, but you've still got access to a slot here and the 3 slots here. So this is one possible choice.
Right, and this mimics what we have today with the SR650, where you can have 12 drives in the front and 2 in the rear. So that configurability or that alternative remains.
Yes. Now here's another choice. This one here, instead of having 2 drives, you can have 4 3.5-inch drives. So it fits. Let me move this one out of the way. It goes across the server. This time we're consuming more of the slot. You've still got access to a slot at the bottom on the side here and in the middle, but now you have 4 3.5-inch drives at the back. So this is not
right. So this would allow for 16 3.5-inch drives in the server, which is a new configuration for the 2-socket 2U server, ThinkSystem server. Right.
And then here's a third drive choice. So instead of 3.5-inch drive bays, you can use 2.5-inch drives, and this configuration allows you to have 8 2.5-inch drives at the back, if you wish. Or you can have one with the configuration with just the 4 drives here, which will give you access to just a few more slots. So again, more choices available to you. But wait, there's more, right? We now have.
I think there's more. Yes.
Yes. So we have this. This is a new drive style, new form factor. These are 7mm drives. They are solid-state drives only, either NVMe or SAS.
SATA.
Sorry, NVMe or SATA. Yes.
SATA, right? Mm-hmm.
Yep. But these are hot swap drives. Now let's compare this, Russ, to the M.2 drives that we have internal.
Yeah. So this new configuration of rear 7mm drives is really meant to be boot drives. So we used to support a pair of 2.5-inch spinning drives in the back of the server that were boot drives. And then we moved to M.2 drives on the inside of the server for boot drives. But there were some customers who still wanted the ability to hot swap the boot drives, especially when they're in a mirrored pair. So by moving to these 7mm drives in the rear, they can be hot swapped, and you don't lose two 2.5-inch bays. You really just lose one slot by doing this.
Right.
So this is really a move forward in how we're supporting boot drives and giving the customers the ability to have the rear-facing hot swap capability.
Yeah. You can see this one I'm showing you here. This has got the 2 slots above it, so that's still an option. You can also get a choice without these 2 slots. That allows you to use the 3.5 or the 2.5-inch drives on top of this. So this is not a either or. You can have them both if you want, both 7mm and the 2.5s or 3.5s if you wish. Yeah. So this is also in addition to the M.2. So you can see here internally to the server, this is the M.2 adapter with 2 M.2 drives installed. So that's still an option available to you as well. You've seen this adapter on the AMD one-socket servers we offer, the 635 and 655.
That's right.
Right. So now let me spin it back around again and show you actually, before we go any further, let me tell you the rest of the ports. At the back of the system, 3 USB 3.1 Gen 1s and VGA port. There's also a dedicated service processor port. This gives you remote access to the xClarity controller service processor if you need to have access to that. And of course, the server also supports 2 hot swap power supplies. The server supports 4 different configurations: 550, 750, 1100, and these are the 1800s. Yeah, the high capacity power supplies. All hot swap, of course. Right. Let me spin around and show you the internal drives. So these are the mid drives. Very easy way to get access to these. Again, as Russ pointed out, this is all available hot swap. So while the server's running, you can take the cover off and then simply lift this up, and that gives you access to those internal, the mid-plane hot swap drives. You can see here there are 8 2.5s. We also offer, instead, Russ, is it 4 3.5 inch? Yes, yes. So these are 2 different choices.
23.5-inch drives, 12 in the front, 4 in the middle, and 4 in the back.
Yeah, and if you have the 3.5s, then the M.2 is still present. It is in fact just positioned on top of the 3.5-inch drives. Yep. Now, of course, if you don't have the mid drives, but you need the additional space in the middle here for GPUs, for example, then you don't need to have the mid plane. You instead have an air baffle like this. The longer full length adapters would fit in these holes here, and the M.2 rests on top, along with up to 4 supercaps will get mounted in this air baffle as well. So that's all part of the configuration if you have long adapters like GPUs. All right, now this mid drive bays, these also open up all the way to give you access to the internals of the system. So you can see here, let me spin this around. You can see here, oops. You can see here we have two AMD processors and up to, we've got 24 DIMMs. Is that right?
No, we're 32 DIMMs.
32 DIMMs. I'm getting my systems mixed up. Yes. Yeah. Each processor has. Sorry, you go, Russ.
No, I was going to say each processor has 16 DIMMs attached to it. Yes, 8 channels, 2 DIMMs per channel. Gives us 32 DIMMs.
Right. So if you're using the 128 gig memory DIMMs, the system can actually support up to 4 terabytes of memory. So it's really quite a powerful system.
Yes, it is.
Memory processing.
And of course, with the 2 CPUs, it's 4 terabytes of memory and 128 cores.
Right. Yes. Very good. Now, let me also draw your attention these new high performance heat sinks. The standard heat sink goes on top of the processors, and then attached to them via these copper pipes are these things we call them radiators. So there's a radiator at the front here, and they sit right behind the fans. And the whole point here is that the copper tubes here, they contain a small amount of a liquid, a thermal liquid, to draw the heat away from the heatsink into this radiator, and that cools the processes even more. And that's really the fundamental design why this system has the ability to run so many drives, so many NVMe drives, the high capacity GPUs without much thermal restrictions. Because
these are really the highest wattage processors we've put into the 2-socket 2U system up to date, and we've taken technology that we've used in our HPC products and the Neptune water-cooled technology, and the ST530 2U 4-node technology to build these heat sinks with these radiators.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes. Now, of course, if you don't need the high-end processors or the heat removal that these things provide, we do offer too the standard heat sinks for the lower-end processor SKUs. So that's available too there. Now, let me also point out to you, internal to the system here in front of the fans, this is a new form factor of RAID card. It's an internal adapter. It's sometimes called a compact adapter. And that's it doesn't occupy one of the slots at the back of the server, so you've still got access to those potentially 8 slots. But here we have an adapter here that gives you, it's a 16-lane 940 RAID adapter from Broadcom. Right next to it in this configuration, we've got a SAS expander. But really, these two adapters are cabled and don't use up any of the slots in the back. So that's a big benefit too. You can see the fans. There are 6 fans here. These are hot swap, as you can see from the orange colors. Very easy to remove as a pack for servicing. All in all, it's a very, very thoroughly designed system and very compact, considering how much power there is in the system. Now, I mentioned too that this is based on the Clarity controller. This is our premier service processor. Gives you full access to service processor management functions. So that's integrated into these systems as well. Anything more to cover on this, Russ?
No, I think you've covered it pretty well, David.
Yep.
I think the key point here is that this is a truly a high performance and very flexible system that can be really optimized for a good number of workloads.
Yeah. All right, so there you have it. So this is the ThinkSystem SR665, our 2-socket 2U server with AMD EPYC 7002 processors. Russ, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks for having me. And David, typically when we do these videos, we talk about the Executive Briefing Center in Morrisville.
Yes, indeed.
Well, unfortunately, it's closed right now. However, the virtual briefings are going on. So, if you're interested in having more discussions about these products and others, please feel free to get with your Lenovo seller or business partner, and we're happy to arrange a virtual briefing just as well as we could do a physical briefing in the past.
Very good. Excellent. Yep. Great. Thanks again, Russ.
Thank you.
Yep. Hope you found the video useful, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.